Hi everyone, Concert Canuck here at River Cree Resort and Casino here in beautiful Enoch. I'm here with Stephanie Harpe from the Stephanie Harpe Experience, who is opening for Honeymoon Suite tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm really excited and just so blessed to be opening up for them again and again
And again?
and again.
So for those of you who follow me, you know I worked in politics. So Stephanie and I actually go all the way back to when I used to work for my MLA. She played one of the events that we held, which was the first Pride event in North Edmonton, which was amazing. You did such a fantastic job. And it feels like yesterday, but I think that was like literally 8 or 9 years ago.
It was.
It's hard to believe the time has passed.
Yeah,
So much time has passed.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate that that even happened. So we're progressively getting there. But we had a lot of wonderful artists and speakers there and community there, and kids. It was a beautiful family event. So great job.
Well, I'm happy to say that is not the only North Edmonton event now, because the Beverly Heights, I believe, in North Edmonton is, if it doesn't rain out, we're going to pray for good weather, is actually holding a big event. So North Edmonton will once again have a Pride event, which is so important.
Wonderful. It is, and it's June, so yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to your origins. What made you turn to music? Did you know from a very young age that you wanted to be a musician?
Yeah, my mom and my dad brought in a lot of records. We had a record player, we had the radio going all the time. We went uptown shopping for whatever records we can find. I remember 8-tracks. I remember listening to 8-tracks, and so records were the biggest to my family, and we do that maybe twice a week. And they love variety. My mom loved everything. She loved all kinds of music. But when she brought home Heart and Janis Joplin and, Street Heart, and she brought, everyone else in line, I was just like, okay, these are the ones that I want to listen to and I want to, learn from. And it kind of took me over. And because there was a lot of trauma in the home, right? Because of what happened with my mom. She went to 2 residential schools. And so, she had to go through a lot of pain and a lot of healing. And so music was the confidant. Music was the escape and the friend always. So I used to go to school, come home and sing. That's all I did. And I taught myself how to sing like I do today.
So did any of your artists influence you now? Any of, for example, Heart? Because your voice is very strong and powerful. So I can see a lot of Anne and Nancy Wilson.
Yeah. And I got to see them a couple of times here in the city. And it was a lot of Heart. And, some Janis Joplin. When we started the band, it was more like a rock bluesy thing. And so I took in a lot of Bonnie Raitt as well. And it was quite amazing just to have that variety. But I think that influenced everything, because then I started getting into R&B, then I started getting into Sade, her with her jazz and everything else. So I think that really formulated the extensive way that I can share my voice with variety.
So your band, the Stephanie Harpe Experience, this is your 21st year.
Yeah.
So how did that all come together?
Jeff and I were celebrating having a child. I could never have children because of the abuse I had suffered, but our little boy was a miracle. And so when he came into this life, we were like, okay, we're making every other dream come true, because he was a dream come true. And so we started our band immediately. And he was raised, and our children were raised in music, and so that came about with my husband and I. My husband Jeff McGinnis, he came in and he started to manage, started to learn about musical equipment, started to learn about having to do home recordings, and you give it to him, he'll learn it right off the bat. But it was just amazing to watch how everyone just kind of pitched in and learned from each other. And then we had Bill Bourne come in into our basement studio, and it was just really amazing. And then we had to shop around the right musicians, but we haven't had the same musicians for a long time until now. So I'm very grateful, but at the same time, it all came about in a very natural, organic way. And then our 4th show, I think, was opening up for Trooper, and then we're opening up for all the biggest names. But before that, we had another, run-in with Jeff Healy, but that was later on down the road. But, that's what happened is he discovered me here when I was 18 at the Thunderdome. And years ago when I wasn't ready and I wasn't with my husband and I was really on my own at the time. And so when we got the band together, we rekindled that relationship, and we, my husband and I were discussing. I was like, I should phone Roadhouse. I should phone Jeff Healy and let him know that we're doing this, and like it's getting pretty big, and we're doing very well. And he says, yeah, I think we should. So I phoned there, and I left a message. I don't know if you remember me, but this is who I am. I met you at the Thunderdome, blah blah blah, and you gave me your card after I sang for you on the bus, and you told me to call you when I was ready. I said, we're ready. 20 minutes later, he calls me back, and he mentored me and my husband until he passed away. And he gave us all these secrets. And I think that really helped us be independently successful as much as we have been, not only locally, but worldwide. And we're able to do, the music stands on its own. It's been flying everywhere. So we're grateful to such a legendary man and icon to take the time to call us at home. And when he passed away, he said, well, I'm going to have Holger Peterson take care of you. Cancer's back, so they'll take care of you. And we've been taken care of ever since.
That's an incredible story, because Jeff really was a legend.
Yeah.
I grew
Such a
up
beautiful
with his
man.
music too, and
Yeah. He didn't have to do that, and he did that. So, yeah.
So you mentioned opening for a lot of musicians. Who are some of your favorites that you've opened, and do you have any memorable stories from being on the road?
Yes, we do. So we've opened up for Charlie Major like 4 times, and we have to say that he's such a beautiful, really kind man.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had, a young band who were acting young, and we're doing young man things and stealing beer, drinking his beer, and like doing things, going to the green room thinking that beer's for them. No, actually that's Charlie Major's beer. What are you doing? And, those kinds of ones. And then, we've had everyone that we've opened up for have been really amazingly friendly, especially when you're an Indigenous person. They want to ask you questions. They want to learn things. Mm-hmm. They want to, it's just it's so important to them that's lifted our spirits, a lot. And, the guys that I have now in my band, so Andrew Jane, and I have Slava Fedosenko, I have Steve Farrell, and I have Aaron Skiba. The guys that I have now helped establish to where we are. The bands just love who I have now. They're like, wow. You know what Jeff Neal told me? And Jeff Neal's so I have to say, Street Heart is like our number one. Street Heart's our number one. Oh. And Jeff Neal is really close to us, a really, really important person to me and to our family. And so he's part of the 3 Jeffs. So Jeff Healy, Jeff McGinnis, and Jeff Neal, who really took me under their wing and really supported me. We've opened for Street Heart many, many times, but to have the honor of this one special time was we opened up for them before Kenny Shields passed away, right? So that was such an honor, and to have that interaction with Kenny, it was just amazing, because Kenny was like, whoa, where did you learn how to sing, and hanging out backstage, like, well, listening to your records and other people's records, that's how I did it. And then some other memorable ones that we have, Biff Naked, of course, like, Beth and Chico. Like Chico, the drummer, he is just such a beautiful human being, just like she is. She is Canada's sweetheart. Mm-hmm. And so we hit it off all right away. And it's really special, like when you get on when the bands are backstage, these big names are backstage, and then you come on and you play, and they leave their trailer and come side stage to see you. Like, that speaks volumes to me. Same thing with Chilliwack. They did the same thing. The other thing too was the Trews. We opened up for the Trews, and they wrote a song for the 215, and then asked me if it was appropriate. Of course it was appropriate. So our number 2 would have to be the Stampeders.
Mhm.
So we opened up for the Stampeders in Fort McKay First Nation on my land, and our sovereign land. And so he invited us for breakfast, and Ronnie King was just so beautiful and friendly, and we stayed friends ever since. So that was many years ago, back in the day. He mentored, and he has a song called Then the White Man Came.
Yes.
And so the video is dedicated to me and all the residential school survivors of Canada, right? And so he did that, and we collaborated on that together before he passed away. So when he passed away, I had my good friend Jane come and escort me to Calgary to be at his memorial, and he left me one of his awards.
Oh, wow.
So, to have Jeff Healy and Ronnie King and Jeff Deal be a part of our family and to care about us that much, it's just incredible. And then I had a wonderful run-in with also Miles Goodwin from April Wine. And so he was, got a hold of me online, said, "Oh, I heard about you, and you do this for Indigenous people." He's like, "I just want to know, I want to write a song about the 215. Is it appropriate?" And I was like, yes, this is appropriate. Yes, this should be shared. Yes, you should educate. Yes, you should share truth. So, so we had this beautiful conversation, and then I got to meet him here at the River Cree, which I love very much. We're so blessed here to be included into the River Cree, the house that helped build She. And he, met him in the lobby when they last here, and he did a shout out to us here. So we've had, shout outs here from the Stampeders and from, all our friends there. And so it's just been like really incredible. So some of those are like the big ones that really matter to us. And, there's many other stories, but we'll be here for a long time because we've been opening up for big names for like 21 years, every single year. It never stopped. But, Big Wreck was amazing. Ian Thornley was, when we did a song dedicated to Jeff Healy, he just came out to us that our guitar tech worked with Jeff Healy for 6 years and just wanted to ask me all these things. And he's like, wow. And we shared a moment. And, that was incredible. We've opened up for blues legends too, Sonny Rhodes and Big Dave McLean. And, we got to share all that time. My sons and my family, my sons were our opening act back in the day. So they got to open up for CCR, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. So yeah, it's been quite a ride. Yeah, we're very blessed.
Thank you for sharing all those stories. Like you've talked about so many of my favorites as well. So no, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your music. What is your songwriting process like?
Well, it's very different. It's very different. So it's kind of weird. So it's songs and melodies come to me when I'm not thinking and I'm distracted by doing something else. So if I'm cleaning, or if I'm working, or if I'm doing something, or I'm organizing something, I'm putting on an event, I'm really distracted, and something will just come to me all of a sudden and interrupt me and kind of like poke me on the shoulder with this melody, or I'm influenced by like something that's going on or that really touched me, and I have to run and write things down, or have to run to my phone to record it. So a lot of melodies also come to me. I don't play an instrument, but a lot of melodies come to me, and then I just record them and I take them to my band, and so we work it out that way. It's just kind of different, but so yeah, I'm so busy with my advocacy work. I just don't have the all the time that I want to dedicate. But now that I have a really good balance in that, I'm really looking forward to, we're going to be creating some new music here right away. And I'm just really excited to be working with producer Miles Wilkinson as well.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So do we have a timeline on the new album?
No, we don't have a timeline, but we're going to be in the studio here this fall. and we're working on the songs all summer, and so I'm really excited. And then that's with some of the songs that I have pre-written back in the day that we know are really good. So we've had, my producer Barry Allen, before he passed away, he said, everyone knows that you rock, Stephanie rocks. Everyone knows that, but you have this other side to you, and you have these other songs that need to be elevated and put out, and like they people need to hear it, and these stories need to be heard. And so this is going to be a whole different, not a whole different, but a different genre. And but we're working on new songs as well. We got half an album ready, so Miles is ready for that. We won't be in the studio probably till next year, but with this band I have now, I'm just so fortunate because the joy and the magic is back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you touched on some of your advocacy work. Let's talk about that a little bit. So you and your family are residential school survivors.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, I was taken away from Castle Downs, my brother and I, and we were taken into the Atonement Home, and that's where we suffered a lot of abuse. I know many others that have. I was almost murdered there when I was about 10 years old, and that was a defining point in my life because I was safer at home. And that was a big thing. After that, being a teenager and just being in trauma and surviving childhood suicide, surviving a lot of abuse, surviving everything that I have survived, just as soon as you're a young person and you're a teenager, I went running towards drugs and alcohol, and that was defining into my life. My mom was murdered. My mother, Ruby Ann McDonald, was murdered here in Edmonton in 1999. And some of my friends were murdered and missing to this day. And then it happened to me a few years after that happened to my mom. And I fought for my life, and I'm here today. But I never got the help that I needed. There was a lot of racism at the time, still is a lot of racism and genocide and oppression that we still have to navigate through, every day as an Indigenous person in our own country. But on the other hand, we're getting very empowered. We're sharing a lot of truth. We're, changing and impacting and saving lives every day with telling the truth of what's happening to us and what's happening to all people in Canada, because it's changing, and we have to. It's a different world when it comes to our safety and our children's safety. So we have to address it as so. It has to be addressed. It has to be talked about. And this isn't about fear. This is about an awakening of truth. It's about being there for one another, extinguishing lateral violence, and all this stuff that they want us to be fighting over. And because the fight isn't between us, the fight is out there with the people that fail us. So once you share truth, then you can make change. I think that's the biggest thing. But I think right now, it's not about everything that, it's not as messy as everyone thinks it out to be. It's very, very simple. We need to start acting like human beings to each other, right? And we need each other more than ever right now. So I'm just hoping that we make that change and swiftly and fiercely, because we have this truth, and it's happening. It's happening. We've been making impact and change and saving lives, and every day. And so I just really appreciative of my band, who have been very understanding and a part of that journey as well.
So what can the government do?
Well, there's nothing much that they can do because they're not doing it. And right now they have the cuts, billions of dollars worth of cuts to our murdered missing funding when we're still not safe, and when we're still trying to secure things, and the calls aren't being answered, and we still don't have justice, and it's kind of scary being an Indigenous woman nowadays. So but the problem is, what we're finding is, as grassroots people and community people who are on the ground with the people and the families, is what we're finding is we can't go to those for the solution, because they're the ones that created the problem. So the system isn't broken, it's running how they want it to run. And I think once people are awake, I think we're going to do much better for each other. We're slowly getting there. We just have a lot of smoke screen to navigate through, and but once you're you know truth, and you get it from survivors and the people that are most oppressed in your country, and it's important. But also, what we're not talking about enough, I think, is people that are vulnerable, are people with disabilities and mental health, because I think music is a big thing for mental health, and I'm really not liking the ticket prices right now. So, we're working on a big campaign for that, because music is for mental health. It really is. And it's really sad because, my son just turned 18. He's a young adult. I thought I was going to be able to take him to all these concerts like I enjoyed all my life. And I can't. And it's just not fair to a lot of peoples and families. And so I think that's a thing that a lot of artists and a lot of people got to, take into stride. I'm very, very grateful here at the River Cree that we have a high level of entertainment for affordable prices, and other places. But I'm telling you, it's a whole thing, and I think it's necessarily and critically needs to be a campaign and talk about this, because we have our people with mental health issues and disabilities who need to be protected and talked about and included as well. So I think that's really, really important nowadays. Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, music has the ability to heal, and music is also the soundtrack of our lives, and it should be accessible.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. Like, ticket prices have, like you say, are so fundamentally outrageous.
Yeah.
So thank you for speaking out, and thank you for, helping to ensure that everybody has access to music, because everybody needs to.
Yeah, they do.
So I want you to talk about the pin. You gave me this pin at the beginning of the interview.
So this is the Blue Jean Jacket pin. Cam Alexis and I have created the day. Cam Alexis is a former chief in RCMP and a former private investigator who handled a lot of the files for our murdered missing Indigenous peoples in Alberta. And we have some of the highest rates. Our men and boys are rising. Their numbers are rising, and it's critical. It's so important to be addressing that, having them included when they survived everything we've survived, and they're the highest rate of Starlight Tours as well in this country. So, we started that day for them, and we went to the Stolen Brothers Sisters Action Movement and got that moving with the events. And this is our 4th annual. It is now an international movement all over the world. And, Cam and I took that all over the country. It took us a few years, but it's an amazing thing. So Blue Jean Jacket Day is June 6th for our murdered, missing, and exploited Indigenous men and boys. And it's important to include them. They never had a day. They never had a color. They never had a pin. They never had, they still don't have funding. They still don't have the supports they need. And so we're doing everything we can to advocate and to make that change. And we've been slowly making impactful change and getting them the right supports that they need. And we're really, really happy where it's going.
So what words of hope and courage can you give anybody watching this who is going through suffering and has dealt with trauma and abuse?
Yeah. Well, just remember, we all have a raging fire within us, and we have to make sure that we share our warmth. And if you share your warmth, you can watch everything beautiful in the world thrive, including yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you for this wonderful interview.
Yeah. Masicho.
You're a wonderful woman, and you're so strong, and I'm really grateful that we became friends.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you and Janice.